Welcome to the Commercial Community Podcast, a mindset training podcast dedicated to helping commercial realtors, investors, and property owners develop and strengthen their thoughts for short and long-term success. We all know that thoughts shape attitude, and attitude affects your altitude in life. Join us weekly as we discover and discuss the thought patterns and successful habits it takes to create positive results in real estate, business, and life. Now, here are your hosts, Marisa Arthur and Kat Isfan.
Hello and welcome back, everyone. And to all of our new listeners out there, welcome to the Commercial Community Podcast. This is episode 3 of Developing a Commercial Mindset. And today I'm here with my really good friend, Kat Isfan, who is also the co-host of this podcast. And we are just so excited today to introduce to everybody to our special guest of the week. Her name is Kristie Phelps-Miller.
Absolutely. She is like a total rock star in this industry.
Absolutely, she is, and she's also a commercial real estate agent, and she's also an associate broker. And hello, welcome, Kristie.
Well, thank you so much
joining
for having
us.
me. Yeah,
We're
thank you.
Excited.
Me too. Thank you.
So we have about a dozen questions to ask of you,
Absolutely,
Kristie. But first, I want to ask something of Kat.
Oh.
And
you told me you were going to put me on the spot.
I told you I was going to put you on the spot. Okay, so Kat, you did something which I feel is unusual and exciting and very ambitious.
Don't you dare.
Yesterday. Do you want to share with everyone what you did that was so adventurous and ambitious?
So here's what I'll say. I got lost on a fun run. No, you know what I did? I went up to Flagstaff and I car camped in my car and woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning to winds blowing at about 30 miles an hour. And for 2 hours, I stayed in the back of my car like a chicken, afraid of the wind, not wanting to get out to do my training run because I was too scared of the wind. So I won't say anything more to that.
But you did have your run.
I did have my run. It was an amazing run, but it wasn't as long as I wanted it to. But I just couldn't believe that for 2 hours I laid there just too afraid to get outside of my car because it was windy.
I think you needed the rest.
It was great. So,
very cool.
Yeah,
cool. So Kristie, you have been in real estate for a long time, over 20 years.
Correct.
You've worked with a few different aspects of it, from residential sales to new builds as a new build on-site agent, to being a manager with a builder, and back into residential, and then into commercial real estate, and then on top of it, you are also a single mom and now a grandmother.
Yes, I am.
And I think that you are just the epitome of what a lot of probably residential real estate agents would aspire to be, making that transition. And so,
thank you,
Kat. Would you like to start us off? I bet you have a lot of curious questions to ask.
I'm
Kristie
so excited
as well.
about Kristie being here because, and I'm, the more time I spend with you, the more I realize how incredibly talented and gifted you are.
Thank you.
And
wow.
And I wouldn't say this unless Marisa was paying me to say it.
Yeah.
And she's not. So, but yeah, I mean, just knowing a little bit about you and your background and the struggles you've been through, because I think most people, to have a commercial mindset in the first place, need to go through a process in their life.
Absolutely.
Right. And when I heard your story, I'm like, oh my goodness, what a great role model you can be for other people who are in commercial.
Thank you.
And just to hear your story. So let me start off. So if you could describe yourself, Kristie, in third person, who would you say Kristie is?
That's a great question. So I would say Kristie is probably first and foremost driven. Kristie's passionate, dedicated, loyal, and with a zest for life.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And that's absolutely true from everything I've gained from you and just seen you do. So that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I get the next question if that's okay,
Fire
Kat.
away.
So Kristie, how has your upbringing affected your motivation to work with clients in commercial real estate?
My upbringing, my father has always been an entrepreneur. He's always owned his own businesses. He's always owned his own commercial buildings, commercial real estate, land, you name it, he's probably owned it, and in multiple states and whatnot. So having seen his success obviously motivated me, drove me into having an interest in commercial real estate always. So as I started off in residential 20 years ago, I did my business in residential, was very successful, but always had that in the back of my mind, that little itch full of, commercial real estate. So decided to get into that several years ago and put both feet in.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
But and I'm amazed because, we share that similar story. My parents were in real estate and I watched them go through a lot of struggles. So you've seen your dad struggle through stuff, I'm sure. Has that ever scared you away, or how did you translate that for yourself?
Great question. I have seen struggles. However, I've seen him also overcome everything. And so any objection that came his way or any potential failure, he turned around into success again. So I've seen that side of it. And I think you do have to have that mindset of you have to overcome a lot of obstacles. And it's doable. And that's the biggest thing I think that is important. Is that those obstacles can be overcome.
Right.
Yeah.
And just that no quit attitude. Right?
Absolutely. The drive.
Drive and endurance,
Yes.
the tenacity to just see that you're going to get through it. You're
Absolutely.
going to get past it.
Yep.
Yeah. Very
Yep.
good. Very good. So if Kristie, if you could share an idea or insight to someone looking at investing in a real estate business, whether as a commercial agent or an investor, what would that idea be?
I think one of the most important things with that question is to know your investment goals. Know whether or not you're looking for a long-term or a short-term hold. Know what your abilities are. Talk to your CPA, talk to your financial advisors. Know what you're truly looking for to help your money make money for you. And I think that's of utmost importance to really dive into what your options are and also what your obstacles may be. So you've got to look at tax ramifications, you've got to look at your business plan, you've got to look at, there's so many other aspects of that question that you really need to dive into to make an informed business decision.
Very good.
And I'm so glad that you said that, because so many times don't people come to us and say, my Uncle Bob or my Uncle Sam or Aunt Sue or whatever bought this property and I want the exact same thing, without actually going through the process of analyzing what their own personal goals are.
Absolutely. That and their financial capabilities. Could be completely
that makes a little
different.
bit of a difference, doesn't it?
Yes,
So,
absolutely. Yeah. And there's
$1
a lot of
million
factors.
only goes so much in this marketplace.
That's correct. That's correct. And their tax ramifications, if there are some.
Right.
Oh my gosh, there's so much to take into consideration.
Yes. Yeah. The commercial real estate world is a completely different animal than residential.
Yeah. It sure is. Very good.
So let me ask you this. So what's been one or two things you've learned over the years? Because you can either invest time or money or both with regards to a career in commercial real estate or even as an investor or owner. But for you, what's one or two things that has impacted you, whether it's been a time thing or a money thing with regards to the industry?
Well, I think time and money go hand in hand. And one of the biggest things that I live my life by is what you put into it, you will get out of it. So there's your time and money play.
Right.
The time and effort you put into something could turn out to, hopefully, if you do it the right way, turn into money and profit for yourself. So I think that's one piece of advice that you have to work hard to reap the benefits.
Right.
And then the other thing I think too is you have to work smarter, not harder. And plan your work and work your plan. So have a goal, have a goal in mind. Strive for something out there. Look at and you can do baby steps.
Totally.
It's all possible. It's what you put into it, you will get out of it.
Yeah. Very good. Very
I have a lot of mentors in my life, but you talk like 3 of those mentors combined.
She
Just
does.
the way-
She does. Yeah. Absolutely. So Kristie, how would you say being a woman has positively impacted your success in commercial real estate?
Commercial real estate has typically in the past been more of a male-dominated field.
Yeah.
What you're seeing now is more and more women are breaking into the field. And a lot of younger folks are also breaking into the field, both men and women. I'm speaking of. But as far as being a woman in the field, I'm pretty strong-headed. I'm pretty direct. I think my communication skills have helped me succeed in the field with not being afraid to speak,
speak up,
to speak truly and matter-of-factly on a deal, and not being afraid to go in there and negotiate like the best of them. I think what I tend to do is I like to create relationships.
Very good.
And that's all part of being in sales, obviously, and that's what we do best. But with creating those relationships, you now create a rapport, and I'm talking from all sides of the transaction, all sides of the deal. I'll create a rapport, obviously, number one, with my clients.
Yes.
But then, I've got a pretty good network of commercial brokers that I work with as well. And if I don't know them, I will know them by the end of the transaction because I will get to know them and create that rapport and that relationship with them.
That's great advice.
And that just creates a mutually respectful working relationship.
Absolutely. And I'm so excited and happy to hear this from you. You and I have been in the business for probably around the same amount of time. And early on in my career, I would hear people refer to the commercial business as male dominated or good old boys club.
That's correct.
And so so there's always, for women, there's always going to be a little bit of that fear. And I'm just so proud of you and so excited to hear your side of it, and how effective it has been for you as a woman being able to get into this field.
Well, both you ladies have had the experience of building a business within real estate, right? And I often tell people, if you're getting into real estate, especially as an agent, let's use that as an example, you're not just becoming a salesperson, you have to have a business mindset in it with that.
Correct.
The reason I ask this question is both you ladies are also moms. So you have I'm putting myself down, but a much better nurture environment to your personalities because you've nurtured kids into adulthood.
I think that it does help. I think just naturally being women and mothers, you're nurturing, you're empathetic, and then you're good at handling a lot of different things, multitasking.
Adult men crying.
Yeah. So handling, I think, a lot of different things at one time. I think that when you're a mother, you that's part of it, and I'm assuming for you that's helped shape you.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
In your career as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Very good.
All right. Well, then maybe let's piggyback off of that. And so, what advice, Kristie, would you give to other aspiring women looking to break into the commercial real estate, whether it's ownership or brokerage industry?
That's a great question. The best advice I can give is to truly know that that's the route you want to go. Look into it, research it, do everything you can, whether it's, and you guys, thank you for doing this podcast because you are bringing to light a place where people have to go to actually learn more about the commercial mindset. There's not a whole lot out there like that right now. So,
it's true.
But there are continuing education courses that people can go to that specifically are structured around commercial real estate. Go to those classes. Pay for seminars. Go to seminars. Read up on books. Go get. There's a ton of magazines about specific commercial real estate. Get your hands on everything you can. Find a mentor. Shadow somebody. Ask if you can help with paperwork, and because the way we negotiate and structure a deal is a completely different language, different forms, different ways of negotiating completely. So just get your hands wet. Go and go into it making that decision feet first. Go into it knowing that whether or not you're going to do that, with the knowledge base as much as you can by going to these classes and reading up and doing all of that.
So let me throw you under the bus on that, if you don't mind for a second.
Absolutely.
Because you have 2 young adult daughters.
I do.
And so if you were going to talk to them about commercial real estate, heart to heart, what would you say to them as a mom?
Same thing.
Come on.
No, really, honestly, I would tell them the same thing. Get the knowledge base. Yeah. Know exactly what you're getting into, so that you can go in feet first. You can dive into it wholeheartedly, and know that you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle the first year in commercial real estate, but you can get through it. And one thing that I always taught my kids, and that I live my life by as well, is the only way over it is through it. And you'll hear me say that probably the rest of my life. Yeah. So where there's a will, there's a way, and don't ever give up. Just keep striving to get to the other side of it and climb the mountain.
That's great advice.
It's doable.
Yeah. I bet you're raising a couple of tough girls.
I like to think so.
Yeah, very good. Fantastic. Okay, so if you were to start over in the industry, knowing what you know now, what is something that you would do differently?
Again, Kat, you and I have talked about this. I don't know that I would do anything differently. The way I live my life is I live it with no regrets.
Yeah, very good.
Everything that I experience in life is a life lesson, and it's an experience, and I take it for what it is. Yeah. And then I know what not to do the next time, or what I should do the next time for success or failure, depending. Yeah. And you alter your mindset to move forward for hopefully success in what you learn from life. So I don't think I would do anything different. I appreciate where I've come from. I appreciate the hard work that I've put in. I put my whole first year into commercial real estate was literally, I was a sponge. I was shadowing people. Yeah. I would go on commercial property tours with them. I would watch their body language. Okay. I would see what it was that they were looking at, where their head was. I would ask questions, and I just literally took it all in. I would ask them, can I write up the paperwork? Mm-hmm. Can I do it? I'm a very hands-on person, and so that's the best way I learn, and the quickest way I learn. Yeah. And so I just literally just jumped in.
So you have a very intuitive nature about you. I mean, you're an initiator. You're seeing things happen as they happen, and you're taking action on them rather than just letting them go pass by. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm.
Yep, hands on.
Very good. Mm-hmm. Very good.
Well, you two girls ought to get together a lot more often.
We should, right? Most definitely.
Absolutely.
We really should.
We'll solve world peace, perhaps.
We will. We're going to take over the world, Kristie and I.
That's right.
Well, let me ask you this, Kristie. So, how important is it to you? Because I know you've already done this, but how important is it to you to surround yourself with the right people, especially when starting a new career in real estate or commercial real estate?
It's probably the most important thing you can do. Yeah. Coming into commercial real estate.
So not going solo?
No. No.
Not think like you know everything from the start?
I absolutely don't recommend that one bit. No, and especially not only for the risk for yourself, but the risk for your brokerage. Mm-hmm. There's just too much liability, and especially in commercial real estate where we're dealing with multi-millions, and we're dealing with a lot larger projects. Right. There's a lot more to lose. Yeah. So where there's a lot more to gain, there's a lot more to lose. Sure. So you have to be real careful in what you're doing. But no, I think one of the most important things, even for me at this point, is my sphere of influence. Are the people around me, are the people that I look up to. I always, if I'm looking for a hand up, I'm also reaching a hand to help somebody out. Right. So I think that's real important as well, to have good mentors, good people you can trust. Yes. Utilize your network. There's people that specialize in things. Go sit with them, pick their brain, talk to people. Yeah. I think that's of utmost importance, and really have a good basis for your training going forward. Yeah. And be able to trust those people and know that they're putting their hand up for you.
Yes. So and they're invested in your success.
Absolutely.
In helping you.
Yes, their investment for success will be yours.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
Well, and I've said this before, that we are the average of the 5 people that we associate ourselves with, and maybe it's not just exactly 5, but it's exactly what you said. It's your sphere of influence. It's the people you choose to go after. What's that saying in residential? Or maybe it's not a residential saying, but you always want to have the smallest house on the biggest block.
Yes.
The smallest
true.
square footage with the biggest house.
Surround yourself with giants.
Exactly.
Surround yourself with giants. So, so we're going to this is a deep question. I hope you're ready for it.
I'm ready.
Okay. So what was a challenging experience that you went through that you feel has helped shape you as a commercial real estate business owner?
Well, I would say the first thing that comes to mind would probably be that the challenge was that I learned that not everybody's intentions were as good as mine. And some people can try to lead you down a path that is not built for success.
Yeah.
It's built for their success, however, not for your success. And so that was probably one of my challenges that I learned from. But again, no regrets. It was a life lesson, and you learn what personalities and what traits of people that you want to work with versus not want to work with.
Yeah, very good. And that's that's a hard lesson, and I've learned that lesson as well. So so I feel your pain.
Yeah.
Well, and oftentimes I think we get to a place in our experience where we look back and we wish not for better answers, but we wish we would have asked better questions.
Very nice. Yes. Very nicely put.
Yeah.
And oftentimes our experience is a reflection of the limited questions we ask going into something.
Correct. And because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And so your questions are limited because you really at that point don't know the right questions to ask.
Exactly. Before. And
exactly.
If you're, just maybe more of a good nature, just really honest.
Just go into it with eyes wide open. That's all I can say. Eyes wide open. Look at everything for what it is, and just be realistic and real with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And there are still good people. Trust me.
Oh, there are so many. The majority.
Absolutely,
are such good people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you'll get that bad apple, but
yeah, for sure.
Well, what's crazy is I've got to say, out of all the people we've interviewed so far, you're one of the most efficient people with words that I've met.
Yes, yeah.
I'm like, I should have thought we should have come up with 20 more questions for her, because she's just flying right through these, and it's so profound what you're saying. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go out of here with a swollen head. My goodness. I'll have to come back down to reality.
So I have one last question.
Certainly.
So is there a success story that you can think of in regards to working and helping investors and owners on commercial real estate transactions? Is there an experience or story that you could share with us?
Yes, there is actually. I had an investor that was looking for a larger office property.
Okay.
And the deal could have gone south. It could have failed. However, based off of the network of folks that I surround myself and the intricacies of the business, let me back up a little bit. So when you're dealing with a client in commercial real estate, you are diving much deeper into them and their business than what you would do in residential. Really? Residential, yes, you want to know their financials, but it's a different situation. In commercial, you need to know the intricacies of their business. I want to know what your hours are. Okay. I want to know your financial backing. I want to know your working capital. I want to know how many employees you have, and I want to know what each one of those employees does. I want to know how you run your business on a daily, standpoint. I want to know how much, if you need any warehouse space, if you need office space, if you need medical space. I want to know everything about your business in the commercial world, because otherwise I'm doing a disservice to you. Wow. And if I know the intricacies of your business, now I know, I put myself in that business owner's feet and say, okay, this is what I need to find for me in this business. Yes. And that serves your client the best. It serves you the best as well. Right. Again, work smarter, not harder. Yeah. And the more you know, the better you can help them. Wow. So those are really, really important things to know about your client. Sure. So having said that, knowing the financial part, knowing the the use of the business, knowing what their goals are.
Yeah.
For instance, this one that comes to my mind is an investor, but I need to know, what are your goals as an investor? What are your goals in purchasing a property? Are you looking for long-term, for short-term? Who's going to manage the property for you? How are you going to work the daily functions of being a landlord? Are you going to be paying somebody? Do you need that person to come in? Do I need to introduce you to somebody to become your property manager? Do you need financing? What do you have for your capital? What do you have to put down? Let's talk about that. Let's look at all of that financial aspect of it. And also with a financial aspect, do I need to get you with a hard money lender? Do I need to get you with, is this your first, here's another thing for the financials. Is this your first property that you're going to own as an investment? That's a big deal in a commercial loan.
Right.
Yeah.
These commercial lenders need to know, how much experience do you have in owning an investment property?
Sure.
I need to know, what your goal is as far as the loan type. Are you going to be looking to refinance it? Are you going to be looking to, what's the vacancy of the building that you're purchasing? What kind of, vacancy rates are we dealing with? Because that's another thing.
So what you're saying is that really your success story, and I'm going to let you finish, but your success story comes off of being able to be the most effective at asking someone the best questions possible.
It's hugely important.
Yeah.
Hugely important.
Because it's those questions, it's your ability to effectively help them go through those questions that gives them the result that they're looking for.
Absolutely. So in the transaction, I know all of the answers to this now because of my questions that I've asked and the rapport that I've gained with my client.
Right.
They trust me, I trust them.
In all your questions, I'm just so excited that you're spilling the beans about all of this. And I'll tell you, just as you're going through this list of questions that you have, it serves so many purposes. You are creating credibility just through asking them those questions. They have a sense of, this girl knows what she's doing, and I feel like she can handle this. So it's almost like an interview.
It's absolutely.
And even though you're asking them the questions, because they're such intelligent questions and so well thought out, there's a sense of, okay, I trust her. She's going to run with this. She has my back. And it demonstrates your knowledge. It demonstrates how reliable and responsible you are. And I just can't say enough about it. I think it's all building rapport at the same time, building the relationship,
and it's
all
trust.
In one meeting.
It's trust.
Yeah, that's great.
Trust in a relationship, and
Good
that's
for
really
you.
really what you have to have, because these folks are sharing their hardest working points of their life with you. And their financials. I mean, who wants to do
blood,
that?
Sweat, and tears.
Absolutely.
So they become, I'm sure, very, very connected to you.
Because keep in mind, my commercial business is typically local business.
Right.
That's something I wanted to touch on the podcast. I don't represent the big, anchor tenants. I don't represent the big Targets and the, Walmarts and that sort of thing. I literally focus on local business.
Yeah, very good.
There are such a huge percentage of local business owners that are not represented in the commercial real estate world. And so they go into a potential lease of a property not being represented, where the landlord's telling them, oh, I'll give you the best deal I can. Well, the landlord's in it for the landlord, obviously.
Sure. So they have no representation.
Correct.
In that scenario.
Which is another reason why I got into commercial real estate here in the Valley, because of that. Just so that I could help these local business owners, the mom and pops, and even multi-million-dollar businesses that are local.
Yeah.
So can I just tell you what you're doing, Kristie? You're giving the greatest perception of an effective and successful commercial real estate broker.
Thank you.
I really think that a lot of other brokerages that are going to hear this are going to be after you, and I'm so glad that you've given your life to us. No, I'm just kidding.
I've signed my life away to you.
Absolutely. But let's do something. And do you mind if I just? And I know Marisa's probably not even expecting this, but can we have you on the podcast again at a later date?
Absolutely, I'd love to.
Oh yeah, that would be
honored.
Fantastic.
Because I think what she's sharing
is
absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we need to have.
for
We
people
for
out
sure
there
need to have
listen
you
in
back.
No, I'd be honored. Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
wow.
absolutely.
Well, let's do this. So just for the sake of time, and Kristie, thank you so much. I
Thank
know
you,
you had
Kristie.
other commitments today and you worked around them to make it here. We
My pleasure. I'm glad I did.
totally appreciate you for that. And I did want to leave our audience with just two ideas because, again, there's a lot to be said to hear something, but if you can't hear something, process through it, and then go do something about it, you limit your potential. And so here's one question that I had for the community, and that's, what would it look like for you to start a commercial real estate career? So if you're out there right now listening to this podcast wondering, wow, maybe there's some hope now that you're hearing Kristie talk and realizing, that she's had a story that she's gone through, and maybe your story is not that much different. So what would that look like for you to start a career in commercial real estate? And then the last question is, if there was a way for you to create a bridge between what you're currently doing now and creating a career in commercial real estate, what would that mean for you? And because as a community, we're a big advocate of, and we love this word, right, of multiple streams of income,
Sure.
right? And I think all of us here, to a certain degree, started in this career while we also had something else going on the side.
Sure.
And we knew that, especially with commercial real estate, it takes a process. So you might be an engineer, you might be a stay-home mom, you might be a doctor, and you're looking at a way to create another stream of revenue with time and freedom on your side, and commercial might be that bridge for you.
Sure.
So just ponder that of what would that look like for you, and what steps would you have to take, to go through that process.
Very
Is
good.
that a good question?
I think they're great questions.
So
Yeah, very good.
So, anything you want to close us with, Marisa? Song and dance?
No. I just want to thank Kristie. It was just such a pleasure, kind of tapping into your mindset, and just hearing a little bit about your story. And I'm really looking forward to having you back and us kind of going deeper with all of this.
My pleasure. And again, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Kat.
See you guys. Bye, Marisa.
Okay, bye.
And
Bye,
talk to you
guys.
guys
Bye.
next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Commercial Community Podcast. If you'd like to put into action any of the thoughts or ideas shared on today's podcast, you can reach either Marisa or Kat at dprcc.com/community or email at community@dprcc.com.